Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, and welcome to this live outdoor English lesson that I am doing in spite of it spitting just a little bit. We'll start in about 38 seconds. I'll just confirm that everything is working properly, and we will go from there. I don't think my microphone's working. That does happen sometimes. Or the timer runs out. We'll see here if that works. So we'll start. I know there's no audio. You can't hear me. Wait, it will start soon. We'll start in about 8 seconds, and I think everything will be working properly then. I'll put that in the chat, and I'll go back to this screen, and I'll say no display. So for some reason, I can't hear myself. Why is that? My volume is at 100%. I am not muted. Sound is good. So is it just me? I'm the only person that can't hear myself. Let me check one thing here to make sure. Sometimes, oh, I see what happened. There we go. It's all good. Excellent. So I had a short and brief sound problem, but everything is working now. Welcome to this live outdoor English lesson. If you saw the picture that I posted on my community page, you'll see that I'm under a nice white canopy. One of the benefits of running a flower farm and selling flowers at the farmer's market is we own some canopies. A canopy is like a structure with a roof. So I am nice and dry, and I am ready to do this lesson. Hopefully you are ready to ask some questions as well about the English language or about me. I prefer that they're about the English language, but I don't mind answering questions about myself every once in a while as well. I know there are questions rolling in, and we'll get to them in a moment. First, I want to say this. I do have the river cam set up, but you can see there's a large ditch in my yard. If you look, let me see if I can get to a screen where you can see both. Yes, right here. If you look, you'll see that I am in the process of creating a trench, or you could call it a ditch, to get water away from the front of my house. If you saw the picture on the community tab, you would have seen that I've kind of cleaned out the whole area in front of my house, and I am doing some work there. So I'm kind of sitting in the middle of it, and you can see right here is the trench. Actually, you see where that board is? That's where the cable that connects the internet to my house is, and I broke it and then had to repair it. So thankfully everything is working properly. Hey, welcome to this English question and answer lesson. If you're one of the 200 people already watching and you're not subscribed, please do subscribe by clicking that red subscribe button. If you have a question during this lesson, you should use the form that Nightbot is sharing in the chat, okay? Don't ask the question in the chat. There will be far too much conversation going on. So please use that link. We'll start in a moment. I'm going to say hi to Nita, Mode Eggs, Know That, Daquan, Ismail, Hafiaz, Lolly, Freddie Wolf, Ralph. I'm scrolling back to see some of the familiar names. Young, Farhed, Burhan, Benham, Kada. There's so many people here. Very cool. Vitor is here. Unsel is here. Lots of really cool people who are here to learn English. So hi to all of you. I'm glad everything's working. I'm going to look at the first question now. Should we do that? Yes. Freddie Wolf says, wow, Bob, nice weather outside. That's cool to see the great background with the river. Yeah, it's a little hard to see the river way in the distance because we have so many leaves on the trees this year. The trees have grown really well. We've had lots of rain here, so it is nice to be able to see that. Let me check my audio one more time, and then I will start the questions. Let me see here if I can change something. I'm just going to change one setting. No, I can't do that while I'm live. I noticed that there are no subtitles for you. Those will appear later, of course, but here we go. First question on the screen in just a moment. Let me go and find it. It is from Ruslan. And the question is right here. Hello, dear Teacher Bob. Thank you for the great lessons. They are always very useful and bring positive vibes. We're going to put an S there. Have a nice weekend and a cool track of the weekend. So the weekend is a musical artist from Canada. I will see if I can listen to some music from him on the weekend to enjoy myself. But thanks, Ruslan, for that comment. Let's go to the next one. It's from Know That. Hi, Know That. Hello, Bob. Can words like a bunch of, a load of, lots of, plenty of, tons of, etc. be used interchangeably? Or does it depend on the context/quantity? Thanks, Bob. By the way, great grammatical structure here. Great sentence. In informal English, yes, there were loads of people at the mall. There were lots of people at the mall. There were a bunch of people at the mall. There were tons of people at the mall. There were plenty of people at the mall. I think bunch of and plenty of are a little smaller in my mind. Like, was the mall busy? There were a bunch of people at the mall. That means a lot, but not as much as there were tons of people. Like, tons means many, many people at the mall. So that's kind of, I think they're all the same, but those two, bunch of and plenty of, maybe not quite as many. And that's just my personal opinion. It may not be how it is defined. From Judith, hi Bob. What kind of swimming do you prefer to do in sea? I prefer to swim the normal standard front crawl. Is that what it's called? That is the style of swimming that I can do. I can also swim like a frog. I don't know what the name of that style is, but and then I do prefer to watch any swimming event at the Olympics that has a Canadian athlete in the event. That is my favorite event to watch, or swimming to watch. From Yuri, hi, there is a question about prepositions. The people on or in the plane were noisy. If I fly to France and I'm on a big plane and the people are noisy, I would probably say the people on the plane were really, really noisy. The people on the plane drove me crazy because they were loud and they talked too much. I wouldn't use in, I don't think. I'm trying to think if it was a really, really small plane. No, I would use on. Yep, I would say the people on the plane were not very nice. From Renata. Hi, do Canadians say mind-blowing or mind-boggling? I think I've heard Americans say both. I don't know which one's British. They mean the same thing, right? Thanks. Not quite. Okay, we use both. If I say, the concert was mind-blowing, it means I loved the concert that I went to and it was amazing and I really, really enjoyed it. But if I said the puzzle was mind-boggling, it means that it was confusing. It was hard for me to figure out the puzzle. I'm talking with my hands a lot today. I'm not sure why. It probably makes sense somehow. So anyways, mind-blowing means amazing. Mind-boggling means a little bit confusing. Fabio from Italy. Hi, Bob. What's the difference between these two phrasal verbs, wear out and wear off? Thanks a lot. If I have a headache and I take Advil or ibuprofen, my headache goes away, but eventually the Advil will wear off. Eventually I will have a headache again. Maybe. Sometimes it just goes away. But what I'm talking about is the Advil or the ibuprofen, the medicine only lasts for a certain amount of time and then the effect goes away. It will wear off. If I drive my van every day for 10 years, it will wear out. If I wear this shirt every day for a year, it will start to get holes in it. It will wear out. So a drug can wear off after 5 or 6 hours, and something you use can wear out. I'm actually just wondering if you guys can hear the rain. It's actually raining harder now. No, you can't. Oh, sorry, I hit the mic there. You can't. So that's cool. Hopefully it doesn't last too long. It's not concerning because there's no wind. I think if it was windy, I would be a little bit more worried. From Unsol, hi, I think you are a person with very good habits. Can you tell us about a good habit that we don't know about, that you actively repeat or had to give up for some reason? I don't know, I'll tell you a bad habit. A bad habit I have is I don't always put my shoes away when I come home, and my kids don't like it because I have shoes for walking, shoes for work at school, shoes for work on the farm, and I leave all my shoes in the front entranceway, even though the closet is right there. What is a good habit I have? I'm trying to think. Another bad habit is I don't eat enough vegetables. A good habit. I usually get up on time. I'm usually up in the summer around 6 or 7 in the morning. I don't usually sleep in. I think that's a good habit. I go to bed on time around 9:30 or 10, and I get up on time. So I usually have a good night's sleep. Levin says, I saw that you saw Deadpool and Wolverine at the movie theater. What movies or TV shows do you like? What can you recommend? So I really like British shows like police procedurals, crime dramas. That's probably my favorite type of show. I like science fiction as well. Although I tried to watch a science fiction show called The Ark the other day, and I couldn't get into it. So what would I recommend? I would recommend finding TV shows that you understand and make you laugh, and that are either American or British English, or Canadian English if you want. So I'm not going to recommend what I like. I'm going to recommend what would be best for you as an English learner. You should find shows that you enjoy watching, so that as you watch one every day or every week, you enjoy that. Because if the show's boring, it's hard to watch, right? But that's what I would recommend. Okay, let's see here. From Tian, could you please give me some vocabulary to describe the sky and the beach in summer? Thank you so much. You can say the sky is clear. You could say the sky was blue. You could say the sky was a bit cloudy. You could say it was overcast. Like today here, it is overcast. If we go to River Cam, you can see the sky. It's a little bit gray. It's a little cloudy, but there's no sunshine. So we would say it is overcast. And then the beach, it was sandy. The sand was hot. You could say the beach had let's use the lots. There were lots of people there. There were tons of people at the beach. That's how you could describe it, by the amount of people there. So there are some example sentences for you to use that. Okay, Ayushi, a big fan here from India. Can you tell me the difference between direct and indirect sentence, and how to pronounce bottle of water? And I don't know what the last word is, so I'm not going to say it. So bottle of water, that's how I say it. Hey, I'm thirsty, so I brought a bottle of water with me. You could call this a bottle of water. But as to the first question, a direct and indirect sentence, I'm not sure. What is a direct or indirect sentence? I'm not always familiar with all of the grammar concepts. Direct speech, reporting the message of the speaker in the exact words. Oh, I see. I think the difference is this. If I say, yesterday John said, Bob, you are a jerk. So I'm using the actual... He didn't say that. But anyways, I'm using the actual words. But if I said, the other day John was talking and he thinks I'm a jerk. I'm not describing this well. You need a better explanation of that one. The first one was correct. I'm struggling with how to create the indirect form. John often says that I'm a jerk. Yeah, that would be indirect. John said I was a jerk. Or the other day John was talking and said I was a jerk. Yeah. I'm the wrong English teacher to explain that one. Let's see here. From Alexandra. So I'm going to move on. That's what I do when I can't explain it. Hopefully you could find a good English lesson to explain it, or someone will give a couple examples in the chat. That's always handy. From Alexandra. Hi, Bob. What's the difference between sentence and phrase? A sentence is complete. So a sentence starts and ends. It has a subject. It has a verb. So if I say, I went to the mall, that's a complete sentence. But a phrase doesn't have to be complete. A phrase can just be a part of the sentence. Like, went to the mall could be a phrase. Or the phrase, to have a good day. That's a phrase. So a phrase can be a subcomponent of a sentence. But a complete sentence is also a phrase. I think I got that one right. Naoki from Japan. Could you give me some slang that sound very Canadian? I don't actually know a lot of slang in terms of, I think because I'm a teacher and I need to speak professionally all the time, I don't always use slang. But I know that the other day I heard someone say to someone who was dressed really in nice new clothes that they looked really drippy. I better look that up to make sure I'm using it correctly. Let's see here. Yeah, it has a couple different meanings. Very cool, awesome, and stylish. But there was an older version that meant something else. So I'm not the best person to ask about slang, but that is one that I have heard recently. Let me see here. Next question. From Mode. Hey, Mr. Bob. How do you pronounce Huron, as in Lake Huron? Thanks, and you're welcome for the short and easy question. So I am saying the H. Thanks for the question, Mode. Huron. But you barely hear it, right? Like Lake Huron. Lake Huron. I hear Huron. Yeah, it's the same H. So Lake Huron. I'm saying it slowly. I wonder what it sounds like if I say it fast. We visited Lake Ontario and Lake Huron on our trip. So there's a fast version using both. Let's see here. The storm clouds look very dark over there. Here we go. Next question. I should have a sip of water. Hey, if you're one of the 270 people watching, don't forget to hit the... Did I shake the table there? Oh, that's just my computer. Don't forget to hit that red subscribe button, and you will get notified when I put out a new lesson. From Rosalia. How is it working on a flower farm? Or how is it to work on a flower farm? Yeah, little corrections there. I would probably say, what's it like working on a flower farm? That would be how an English speaker would say it. What kind of flowers do you grow? Can you grow different types of flowers together without any problems? Yes, but we don't grow the same flowers in the same spot every year. We move things around. So if we grow sunflowers in one spot one year, we grow them in a different spot the next year. So that, there's certain diseases and things in the soil that we want to avoid growing in the same spot. But we do grow lots of flowers very close together. For convenience, we grow them in rows. So the same type of flower is in every row for sure. Okay, let's see here. From Unabi, hello Bob. How many meanings has the word get, including phrasal verbs, etc.? Different sources tell about with different quantities, 30, 50, or even up to 70. So I did a lesson a long time ago where I used the verb get. Let me see here. Bob the Canadian verb get. Let me see if I can find that quick and put a link. So 99 examples of the verb get in less than 8 minutes. Let me put that in the chat. The verb get. You can watch that at a later time. But yeah, there's a lot. Like this morning, I had to get out of bed early, and then I had to get my clothes on, and then I had to get ready for this live stream. So I thought to myself, I better get all my equipment outside so that I can get ready, because I don't want... So it's used a lot. It's really used a lot, for sure. Maro from Italy. Hi, Teacher Bob. Good to see you. What's the difference between I am going to speak about and I'm going to be speaking about? Thanks a lot and all the best. They're the same. I don't know why we have two versions. They're both equally correct and they're both equally common. So it isn't like one is more common than the other. I could easily say, today I'm going to speak about, or today I'm going to be speaking about. Totally fine. Maybe the second one sounds a little more professional. Not really. Like there's nothing wrong with either of them. Both perfectly good. I'm going to be speaking about. I'm going to speak about. Yep. Good sentences. Great question, by the way. From Young, hi Bob. I hope you are doing well. How to pronounce? I should not have told that to be a more native speaker. So, first of all, I think I would more likely say I should not have said that. Okay. Here, let me give you two examples. One with said and one with told. If I'm talking and I say something mean to someone, I might say, oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Okay, I'm using the contraction. I should not have said that. I shouldn't have said that. If I'm talking to Jen and I tell her something that's supposed to be a secret, I might say, oh, I shouldn't have told you that. Okay, so there's a little difference there. In the first, when I say I shouldn't have said that, I'm talking about a sentence or something I said that I shouldn't have said. When I use told, I'm talking about a story. Like maybe I told Jen a story about a coworker that was supposed to be private. I would say, oh, I shouldn't have told you that. So hopefully that makes some sense. That's how I would use each of those. Joanne, what is the best way to improve writing skills? The best way to improve writing skills, there's kind of two parts to this. One, you have to do a lot of writing. And two, you need someone to correct your mistakes. So you could practice your writing using AI. You could practice your writing using an English tutor. If there's a link in the description below to a page called Preply, a web page, where you can hire someone to help you. But you're going to want feedback on your writing. Just writing without knowing where you're making mistakes, it's helpful, but not as helpful as having someone tell you where you made the mistakes, or having an piece of AI software tell you the same thing. Let's see here. Next question from Bridget. This is strange that this is the next question. Can you recommend Preply or italki with native teachers to become more fluent in English, or will you offer lessons? So I did offer lessons once a month for 5 students last fall, and I found that I just didn't have time for that. I don't have a plan to offer private lessons. I think Brent from American English with Brent does do that. I think he has a schedule. But I would recommend Preply. I used Preply when I was working on my French. I found it very easy to find people to speak to. I found it a very good website, and it worked really, really well for me. From Volodymyr, salam teacher Bob, or salam dear teacher, how did you make this trench? And who helped you? So a little fix at the end. I made this trench, let's make it bigger. I made that trench with the tractor. I have a piece of equipment I can put on the back of my tractor, and I can use that to make a small trench. You can use it to make a trench to plant potatoes or dahlias, like things you put in the ground, but you can also use it to make a trench like that in order to, well, I'm going to put some tile in the ground to help things drain. So that's how I made that trench. Let me get a sip of water here while you guys, oh, there's a raindrop on the lens of the camera. Don't worry, the camera that's out in the rain, what I call the river cam, is waterproof. So I'm not worried about that. And as you might have noticed, if you saw the picture I put on the community page, you might have noticed that I'm sitting under a canopy. But it is getting a bit louder. Can you hear the drops hitting the canopy now? No? Surprisingly, you can't. It's quite loud, actually. Okay, let me get another question from Vitor. Here we go. After the words lousy and phony, old-fashioned, is it common to call a bald guy head-shaved? I saw that in an old book. No, you could say that he was going bald, but he still had some hair, so he got his head shaved, and now he's completely bald. Like he decided, like, you know how sometimes people go bald up here, but they have hair here. Sorry. Sometimes people will shave their head so that they're completely bald. They just like that look better. But are the words lousy and phony old-fashioned? Yeah, lousy, I use it. I don't hear my kids use it much. Phony isn't old-fashioned. You could say, oh, that's fake. It's phony. It's not real. By the way, that's what fake and phony mean. Okay, this takes a while to explain, and I won't be able to explain all of it. But Menjunath says, hi, Bob. What is the difference between since and for? Okay, so I've been doing YouTube since January 2017. I've been doing YouTube for over 7 years. Okay, so there are 2 example sentences. Let me give you 2 more. Let's see. I've owned my van since 2018. I've owned my van for 6 years. I hope I'm getting the math right there. There are many other examples and ways to use those two words, but those are just sentences where you can see the difference. I have been live streaming since 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have been live streaming for 23 minutes. Okay, so when I'm mentioning the start, I use since, but when I'm talking about the duration, I use for. Again, that's not a complete answer. There are many, many more ways to use them, and I should probably do a full video on it. From Lolly Lolly, bonjour Bob. Is it possible to continue learning English only with ChatGPT? Don't worry, I'll follow your lessons forever. So this is an interesting question because the world of language learning is changing. The idea of hiring someone to help you with your English, I think, will become less common as AI becomes better. I think one of the things, though, is that I think you need variety. So if you learn to talk with ChatGPT or another AI, it will do a good job, but you may not learn as much as you would if you talked to one or two actual people and still watched YouTube videos and watched some television. There's something about you get a variety of things when you do a variety of things. So if you just use ChatGPT and you don't read or watch TV or speak to English speakers, you're not going to get the complete package. You're not going to get everything that you need. And I'm not worried about people following my lessons. I always think, what lesson could I make today that an AI couldn't make? And then I was like, I'll go to the theater. And then this Monday, forget what I'm doing. Maybe go to the hardware store or something. We'll see. Okay. From Aaron. Hi, Bob. Could you explain the word fodder? The difference between regulation and stipulation. Thanks a lot. So fodder is actually an older word for feed for animals. So you could say we feed our goats. We have fodder. But it's also used to talk about information, okay? So they might have gotten their information from a certain place, and you might call it fodder. It's not a common word. It's actually kind of an old word. I haven't heard it for a while. So fodder, especially, food, especially hay or feed for cattle or livestock. So that's one of the definitions. That's actually the only definition they give. Because we sometimes use it to talk about information as well. Yeah. So anyways, we're going to go with feed for cattle and horses and all of those types of animals. Tim, do you think English is tedious? No, because I don't really think about the fact that I speak English. So for me, English is just something I do naturally. Just like you all have your native language, the language that you have spoken, and it doesn't seem tedious because it's just the way you communicate. Do I find learning French tedious? Not really. I actually really enjoy learning a language. So for me, it is not tedious at all. I think there's people that love learning languages and people where it's a little challenging. And for the people who love learning a language, it's a lot easier to learn it. Mode says, any lesson with the correct number of fingers will be hard for an AI to make. Yes, where was I? I was at the university and I'm like checking my hand to make sure I have the right number of them up. Mode says, you're getting a lot of grammar questions today. Yes, for sure. Okay, let me get to the next question. We'll do members only chat in just a moment as well. From Ryochi. Hi, Bob. Thank you for good videos on YouTube. You're welcome. If I want to use English like native speakers, what is a good way to make it come true? Thanks in advance. So my recommendation is time and variety. Okay. So time, meaning you need to schedule time every day, at least 5 or 6 days a week where you are going to study English. And then variety. During those times, you should make sure you're not just doing one thing. If you watch English lessons on YouTube for an hour a day, 5 or 6 days a week, that's good. But you haven't done any reading and you haven't done any writing and you haven't really done any speaking. So it's important that you have some variety. that you schedule some time and then find some variety. And then lastly, I still think it's good to talk to a person. I think it's good to have some sort of tutor who can help you. I'm just kind of old school that way. I think it's important to have someone who can help you. Anyways, I'm going to have a sip of water. It is members only chat time. Oh, and I need to push the button on my camera. There we go. It's members only chat time. That means that if you are a member, you can ask questions directly in the chat. I will still answer questions from the form, and this is only for 10 minutes. So if you're not a member, you don't have to leave. You can enjoy the lesson. And then we will go back to regular chat mode in about 10 minutes. Can't believe it's 10:30 already. Well, 10:29. I'm a minute early. From Know That, do you have some plans for today and or tomorrow, Bob? Or do you stay at home and do a bit of work on the farm or your projects? Thanks, Bob. Well, it's raining. Sometimes when it's raining, we'll go shopping. So we have thought about going shopping this afternoon. Although we did have a really long day yesterday, we ended up going to bed quite late. We were running around at night. I'll just tell you what happened. One of my kids drove our van somewhere and then lost the keys. So we had to bring the other set of keys away. So we were up a bit late doing parent stuff. So anyways, it's all good. We have both sets of keys again. We might watch the Blue Jays game. It's on this afternoon. I might have a nap. If it stops raining, we'll do some work on the farm. Let's see, from Modags, it's funny how it's feed for some animals like cows and chickens, and it's food for others like cats and dogs. Yes, I've never understood that. You know, there's cow feed and pig feed and sheep feed and goat feed, and then there's cat food and dog food. That's just the way it is. I don't know why. Maybe because cats and dogs spend so much time with humans. Daquan says, hello guys. Hello, Daquan. Good to see you. Lolly says, hello, Unibai. Yes, we have both another teacher on YouTube. Yeah, it's good that you watch a variety of channels. I think it's very important. I know this sounds the opposite of what I should say. You should be watching other English teachers on YouTube. It's good for your ear. It's good for training your mind to understand things better. Let me see here. Mode says, Vitor, you're always one step ahead. Yes, Vitor is always one step ahead. Let's see. I don't know if Vitor is referring to yesterday. I had a photo yesterday where you could tell it was made by AI because the hand was wrong on the one person. Lolly correcting teachers. American English with Brent. Hi, Brent. Good to see you. One of my kids hit the house driving the car into the garage. I won't say which one. You know, Brent and I talked about, when I visited Brent a couple weeks ago, how we both have really old vehicles. We would both love really new vehicles, but both of us have children who drive. And when you have kids who drive your vehicles, you're not that eager to buy brand new vehicles. You're happy to have something old where if there's a dent, you don't have to worry too much about it. Hafia, speaking of lost keys, I've lost my car key once at the beach. Had to call my brother to bring the spare. Yeah, I might actually know that was asking my plans. I might go get an extra key made for that van, so we have more than two. Eva says, hi, Bob. Greetings from Bydgoszcz. I can't remember how to pronounce it, Eva. I practiced so much for your video. Are you enjoying the summer? Greetings to everybody. I am enjoying the summer. It's half over. It's August 3rd today. I'm totally enjoying the summer. In fact, July seemed nice and long to me. I did a bunch of work around the farm. I went to see Brent. It was a really nice month. I really, really enjoyed it. And I have another month to go. Freddie Wolf, it's crazy, Bob. You say it's raining and the sky is overcast. Nevertheless, on my screen, it seemed that the sun was shining, though. I guess that your camera is doing an amazing job. Yeah, and I also have a light, so I could block the light a little bit. And it is a bit brighter outside than it was when we started. So I wonder if it's going to slowly stop. And yeah, the camera does adjust, right? It adjusts the ISO. It's on auto. So as it gets darker, it will seem brighter. I had that problem when I was live streaming the eclipse. The camera kept making it look like daytime when it was actually dark out here. From Hafiaz to Brent, the kid that sleeps in the... I'm not going to read that one. Kaka-chan says, hello, Teacher Bob. How long have you worn your finger? Oh, how long have you worn... We would say, how long have you worn your wedding ring? Okay. I've worn this for a long time. Jen and I have been married over 25 years. It's been a long time. Yeah, that's crazy, eh? So yeah, it's kind of shiny. I don't know if the camera will focus on that. Jen, if I hide my eyes, usually the camera will focus. Or maybe the camera isn't going to focus anymore. Maybe it's only going to stay focused on me. Yeah, Jen and I bought these a long time ago. And it's getting thin. I think when you wear a ring for a long time and you take it on and off every day, it starts to get thin. So, and I do this a lot. I spin it, like when I'm in a meeting, I might sit and spin my ring. That probably doesn't help either. Let's see here. People are chatting and having fun. It's not raining in Markham. Oh, that's interesting. Let me look at the radar. Now I'm curious. Actually, this morning when we looked at the on the computer, oh yeah, it's not raining. It's just raining above me. It's not raining in Toronto. By the way, Markham is a little bit north of Toronto, part of the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area. Let's see. Let me get a question on the screen. Here we go from Benham. Hi, Bob. I saw you were confused about the word straight and channel in one of your previous videos. Could we say that a straight tends to be much narrower than a channel? If you read the comments under that lesson, a number of people explained the difference between straight and channel. I didn't have the skills. I was caught off guard. But basically, to me, a straight and a channel are very similar. That's all I will say. Let's see. So let's see. The garage was hit Thursday night. Lights were left on the next night. Dead battery the next morning. It's been a trying week for teenage drivers. Yeah, but that's how everyone learns, right? You learn by making a few mistakes here and there. That's Brent's comment from the chat below. Let's see there. Ralph says, just a second, short hello. We're renewing the paint and shutter motor at the room of our daughter. So I'm just here for a coffee and listening for a few minutes. Oh, I see. So the shutter has a motor on it. Very cool. In your daughter's room. And then you're putting new paint up. Very cool. It's always nice to do little home improvements. That's what we would call them. Home improvements are nice to do. They make things just look nicer. And you just feel better, right? When you do home improvements. From Tan, hi Bob, I got a question. Does the word lest get used often? Little fix there. How can we use it? And can you give us an example sentence? It's not used very often. It usually means like just in case of something, right? Like we use it. I'm trying to think. There is I can't think. Lest. You should go for a walk every day lest you start to put on weight. Yeah, we do not use that word very often. And it's hard for me to come up with an example sentence. Example sentence with lest. Oh, yeah, here's a good one. You should... Yeah, no, I can't think of a good one. I'm going to have to use the internet again. Let's see. She was afraid lest he might fall. She sat up late worrying lest he be held up on the way home. Yeah, not a common word for me to use at all. Great question, though, for sure. Let's see. From the chat, let's go back to the chat. We have a few people saying hello. Michael says to Brett, I crashed the first car at the age of 4. That's pretty young to be crashing a car. I wonder if you found your parents' keys and did that without them knowing about it. I actually saw that happen from my classroom window once. I'll tell you a little story. I was teaching a lesson and my students were working and I was looking out the window, as teachers sometimes do when they're a little bit bored. And then the house beside our school A lady drove in with her van, and she got out and left the van running, and she went in the house. And as she was walking back out, one of her kids, like 5 or 6 years old, was in the driver's seat and backed the van out the driveway into the ditch. No one was hurt. It actually happened quite slowly. But yeah, don't be safe when driving cars and doing things with cars around kids, for sure. Let's see. No, that says, regarding your wedding ring, Bob, is there anything engraved on it? No. On the inside, it used to say how many carat it was, but that wore off. And I think it used to have just the name of a company that made it, but I don't think that. But no, Jen and I didn't get anything engraved. No, you can hardly see anything on the inside. Nope. Some people get things engraved. By the way, engraved means they use a really fine metal point that vibrates a bit, and then they can etch or engrave. They kind of mean the same thing, but nope. Mode says, Lest is so old-fashioned, and I think we have to use the subjunctive off after it, so believe me, you don't need that kind of English. No. Hey, thanks for gifting someone a membership, Brent. That's awesome of you. So Winnie, you have just received a membership to my channel from Brent. So thanks, Brent, for that. By the way, if you're wondering what can members do, well, they can participate in members-only chat. They get a little lesson for the week on Mondays, some ideas, some things you can do. And you get an extra video on Wednesdays of me walking around and showing you things and talking about various things. And you get your name green in the chat and a little crown. So that's fun as well. Let's see here. No, that says, thanks, Bob. No problem. Hafia says, when Bob said home improvement, my mind automatically went in Tim Allen's voice, if you know. So there was a show years ago called Home Improvement about a guy who, what did he, yeah, he did a TV show, right? And then it was about him and his family and the guy he worked with and his neighbor. You only ever saw his eyes over the fence in the backyard. Kind of pretty funny show, by the way. But hey, let's end members only chat. If you're a member, well, I almost clicked end stream. That's the wrong button. Let's go back to subscriber only chat. So by the way, thanks members for being members. You are awesome. What you do helps me. If you look at the picture on my community page today, everything you see except the canopy, you helped me procure. You helped me be able to buy and use so that I can do things like this. So thank you very much for being members and supporting the work I do. That's awesome of you. Let's see. If you're one of the 304 people watching, don't forget to click that subscribe button. And we are going to get back to the lesson. Let me get the next question on the screen. And we should go into this mode, right? Here we go. Tina. Hello, Bob. I'm going to read this because it's like a which one is correct, and I don't want to read out loud the wrong one. Hello, Bob. I have a mother, a father, a sister, and a brother. Correct. The second one, not correct. Okay. So who's all in your family? You could say, oh, I have a mother, I have a father, I have 2 sisters and a brother. Okay. When you start to use numbers, of course, you don't need the in front, do you? I have a mom, a dad, 2 sisters, and 3 brothers. There, that's another example for you. When you are describing your family. No, that says, and a big thank you to you for what you do, Bob. No problem. I enjoy doing it. I'm considering I might live stream one more time in August just for fun, because it is fun to sit outside and answer questions. I do really enjoy doing it. So no promises, but we'll see what the future brings. Yusake, I have spent about 9,000 hours on English, if including living in the States for 3 years. But I still feel like I speak worse than 10-year-old native kids. So I don't know how to give advice because I don't know your entire situation. But there are times where the things you are doing, you might need to change in order to improve. Because when you do the same thing over and over again, sometimes you reach a certain level and then you can't go higher because you're just doing the same thing. So you have to look at what have you spent most of those 9,000 hours doing, and you need to figure out what haven't you done. What can you do that's different? And that might help. It might mean more conversation practice. It might mean more reading. It might mean more writing. It might mean hiring a tutor for an hour twice a week. Look at what you have done. Like, make a chart. Okay, I've spent probably 4,500 hours reading. And then it's like, okay, well, I've done a lot of reading. I need to do a lot more speaking, a lot more listening. So find your weaknesses. From Redfish, do you like Canada? Why? So I like Canada for a number of reasons. Number one, Canada has been very good to my family. My family came from the Netherlands many years ago after World War II. There were not a lot of opportunities in the Netherlands for farmers. I mean, there were farms, but it's a small country. And they're great. They grow a lot of food. But my dad was from a family where his dad, my grandfather, was a farmer, and they wanted more land to farm more, and that was hard to find. And so they came to Canada, and they were able to buy a very large farm after about 5 years. And then, so my grandfather bought a farm, my grandfather and grandmother, and then my dad and mom bought a farm. And so this was a land where there was a lot of opportunity and where they could provide for their family. So I like Canada because I feel like Canada really helped my grandparents and parents live a better life. That would be my number one reason why I like Canada. Now, you must be able to hear the rain now, no? Maybe not? I do have a little bit of noise suppression turned on with my mic. Maybe that eliminates the sound of the rain coming down. From Hanji, I wonder what condition people speak words without T, just like important and mountain. I have heard several times people speak these words without the middle T. So if I say, like, if a student is misbehaving, I might say it's very important that you sit down. It's very important. And then important. You hear it a little bit, but mostly it's just important. It's really important that you have a canopy when you have expensive equipment outside. I want to go climb that mountain. Yeah. So in quick informal speech, you don't hear it. Mountain. Like if I say it really slow, I decide to say the T. It's important that you climb that mountain. But normally I would just say, hey, it's important that you climb that mountain today. So the rapid speech makes me drop the T. Or it becomes more of a D, right? Let's see. From Ismail. Hi, Bob. As someone who has learned French and is strengthening his skills, what approach would you take if you were starting from scratch to save time and avoid mistakes? I would hire a French tutor sooner. It's always, for me, it was hard to be brave and have courage to speak French. It was very easy to read. It was very easy to listen to French music or watch French television. But I didn't spend enough time writing or speaking. When I did my B1 test, I did really well on the reading and listening part, and I didn't do as well on the speaking and writing part. So when I was preparing for my B2, I spent less time practicing my reading and writing. I still practiced it, my reading and listening. But I really increased the amount of time I spent doing my speaking and my writing. And I did hire someone. I think I did almost 50 one-hour sessions with a tutor online in the year where I was preparing to do my B2. So that's what I would say. Find a tutor earlier than later. It's just helpful. It's very, very helpful. From Freddie the Frenchie. Bob, I learned the expression to have a brain fart in case we forget lots of things. Can we use that expression in everyday English without being rude? So a fart is when, your digestive system has gas. And if you burp, that gas comes out of your mouth. And if you fart, that gas comes out of the other end. But we have a term called a brain fart. When you make a mistake or you can't remember things, like I might say, oh, I went to the grocery store and I forgot the list. I had a brain fart. It's informal. You would use it with friends and relatives and maybe colleagues well. But I wouldn't use it like in a meeting or with my boss or something like that, it's not something I would choose to say. Mode says, my internet is too slow. I'm not sure whose internet cable broke, mine or Mr. Bob's. Well, it's not mine, although mine might be getting wet. But I did put a board over it. I don't know if you can see that. There's a board over top of it. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I think everything's still working great. So hopefully you can figure that out, Mode. Okay, question. What were we talking about? It's a little bit rude, I would say. It's like, for me, it would be the same. It's not swearing, but it would be similar. You wouldn't use a swear word in a meeting, but you might use a swear word when talking with friends. So from Ayushi, my question is, can you tell me what is the main helping verb and tell me if the Canadians speak fast or slow, and can you say namaste in India? Yes. So let me decipher this a bit. The main helping verb, I'm going to eat. I will. Yeah. We use gonna a lot. It's hard to say, like, because I will be, I'm going to, I am running. Depends on the verb construct you use, but all of those, like to be. Yeah, that's a tricky one. I have to think of the verbs in my head, and I think you should just learn all of the structures where you need a helping verb or auxiliary verb, for sure. Not a great answer from me. Sorry about that, but you probably should find a whole lesson on that. Brent, spoiler, watching the Olympics, just saw a Canadian gymnast, Shellen Olsen. She went to the same college I did, University of Alabama. Roll Tide. I think Roll Tide is their like motto. There you go. Well, that's cool. Gymnast, very cool. Sorry, I lost my train of thought here. Alicia, it's a pleasure hearing you and the rain over Ontario in a sunny afternoon in a little village in Spain. I would love to be in a little village in Spain. That would be fun. That sounds really enjoyable to me. Sitting in a little village in Spain, maybe having something fun to eat, talking with Jen. But I'm glad you are enjoying this as well. It's fun for me, and it's fun to share this with all of you as well. Let's see here. Oh, I use these wrong. So from Camilla, what is the difference between lay and lie? It's kind of confusing. Love your videos. So first of all, in informal English, sometimes we use both, and we use one of them incorrectly. Here's how I understand it. I'll explain it, and then I'll look it up to make sure I'm right. I'm tired. I might lie down on my bed. I don't need these glasses right now, so I'm going to lay them down on the table. Okay, now let's look it up. Let's see if I used it right. Difference between lie and lay. How to use lie and lay correctly is in their usage. Yes, lie is intransitive. It implies that you are going into a horizontal position. Lay is a transitive and requires an object. So that being said, okay, at night I lie down in my bed, and in the morning I get up, and at night I lay my wallet down on the table. I do often say I'm going to lay down and have a nap. Technically incorrect, but I do say that. And I think other English speakers do as well. Let's see here. From Safin, hello, last week I took the language test set by the British Imperial and I realized how much I have benefited from you. I am happy for you, Safin. Very cool. I'm glad that I was able to help. I'm sure you did a lot of other things as well in order to get ready for that. But so good that you benefited from learning a bit from me and, of course, from other people as well. From Kale, hi, Bob. I have a question. I want to learn English, but I have a problem forgetting the meaning of the words. What should I do? So there's a few things you can do when you're forgetting words. One is any word where you can draw its meaning, you should always do that. So the verb to run, you can draw a little person running. That will help you remember it. If you learn the word for apple, you should actually draw an apple. Whenever you can add the image to the word, our brains are just better at remembering that. And this doesn't work for every word, but for the words where that works, do that, okay? Keep like a picture dictionary. And then the second thing would be for words where that works and for words where that doesn't work, you need to use those words at least 4 or 5 times, like over a week. So if you learn the word apple, use the word apple today, tomorrow, Monday, next Wednesday, and then Thursday twice, and then use it in a sentence, write it in a sentence, do whatever you can. But you have to space out that repetition. If you learn a lot of words in one day, you might forget them if you don't review them 2 or 3 times over the next few days. It's always important to review. From Vietnam, hi, where are you living now? I'm moving to Saskatchewan. My dream has come true. Hope to see you soon. I watched a lot of your videos to learn English and got an IELTS of 7.5. Very cool. I'm nowhere near Saskatchewan. Canada is a very big country. I'm in the province of Ontario. And then beside Ontario is the province of Manitoba. And then beside Manitoba is the province of Saskatchewan. It's a beautiful province, I've heard. I've never been to Saskatchewan. It's very flat. But I think you will very much enjoy living there. Hopefully you have a nice time. Cool, and congrats. Cool that you did well on the IELTS, and congrats on that as well. Natalia, my word today, tease. Do students tease you? When you were a student, did you tease your teachers? Who did or do you tease? So generally, teasing is between people of equal status, okay? So a teacher would rarely tease a student. Students would rarely tease a teacher, but students will tease each other. So when you tease someone, you bother them, you say things about them. You might like poke them and say, hey, like if I didn't sleep well last night, Jen might poke me a few times and say, don't fall asleep, don't fall asleep. She might tease me a little bit. Jen doesn't do that, by the way. But anyways, to tease means to bother or to bug someone. And generally it's done like brothers and sisters will tease each other, but kids won't very often tease their parents. Parents might tease their kids a bit, but it's kind of a negative type of behavior, so you don't see that very much. So, but anyways, that's to tease, usually between peers. From Fox, the tea drinker. You are familiar with the expression, 7 cups of tea will help you wake up. 9, fall asleep. Do you agree with it? I don't know. A cup of coffee will wake me up, but it will wake me up for a long time, like a day and a half. What I do know is if I eat a big meal, then I do get sleepy. I do want to fall asleep. It's pretty common for me if like on Thanksgiving or Christmas Day, when we have a big meal with my family, to eat a big meal and then want to sleep for sure. So I'm not sure if I agree with the phrase. It's an interesting one. For sure. Jason, what's the best way to learn prepositions? I always go over them in different contexts, but I still get stuck whenever I want to use them. It's just hard. I think that's something where watching a lot of English lessons on YouTube that explain prepositions will help you. I did do a lesson on prepositions a while ago. Let's see here if I can find it. It's like I'm in a tree, I think. Actually, I don't know if that video did really well. Yeah, it's the prepositions in, at, by, and on. Let me get a link to that. And I'll put it in the chat for you. Prepositions. I used to have Dave the Canadian would do this for me, right? That was always nice. So yes, it's just hard. Prepositions are hard. Because we change them, and then sometimes, like the other day, I was talking about to cheer on and to cheer for. I did a lesson yesterday on phrasal verbs for sports. By the way, this lesson is up on my channel if you want to watch it. And I talked about to cheer on or to cheer for. They mean the same thing. So sometimes we even make it confusing as English speakers. But yeah, and you need to... I think you just need to be exposed to them a lot, read a lot, listen a lot, and hopefully they start to connect in your mind for sure. Next question from the blind author. What is the difference between shout, scream, yell, and cry? So cry is like tears are coming down my cheeks and I'm sad, I'm crying. Okay, that's to cry. You can cry out like, ah, that would be like crying out. Shout and scream to me, actually shout and yell are very similar. Like I might, if Jen is really far away out in the flower field, I might shout, supper's ready, or I might yell, supper's ready. So I'm communicating to her. Scream though to me is usually like just you scare someone and they scream like, ah, that's a scream to me. Although you can scream words as well, but it usually means like you're in a heightened emotional state. Like you're really upset and you're just screaming at someone. You're not a very good person. That's my example. But shout and yell would be definitely words. Scream, you don't necessarily have to be saying words in order for that to happen. Hey, you know what's fun? The queue of questions is empty and it's 11 o'clock. There were exactly enough questions to fill 1 hour. So that's awesome. So I'm going to wrap this up. Anyways, if you're new here, don't forget to click the subscribe button. Explore my channel. There are many videos to watch. I think that if you are curious about anything about English, at this point in time, after 7.5 years, there's probably a video about it. So go to Bob the Canadian on YouTube and explore a little bit. If you weren't here yesterday, the lesson I did yesterday on phrasal verbs for sports will come out in a shorter version tomorrow. So take some time to watch that. I think it's good to reinforce for those of you that already did attend the lesson. It's good to listen to it again. But definitely, repetition. It's kind of boring, but it's really, really helpful. Thanks for hanging out with me outside. We were at almost 340 people at one point. That's very cool. Thanks for being here. Anyways, I'm just going to say bye and I'm going to go. It's a nice Saturday morning. I'm getting a little bit hungry. I had a banana for breakfast. That's it. Just a banana. So I should probably go in and eat a little bit more. So let me check a couple things. We're all good. Let's see here. Put my glasses on. Renata says, bye everyone. Stay safe and well. Much love, peace and faith and hope. Carolina says, thank you. The blind author says, all the best, everybody. I really appreciate your work, Bob. No problem. Kakachen says, bye, everyone. Freddie Wolf says, 1 hour. That's already the end, folks. Yep, that's it. Hafiez says, see y'all next time. Bye, Hafiez. No, that says to Freddie Wolf. And Ralph says, oh, he says, bye. Very nice. I like it when you guys talk to each other. That is really cool. Some thank yous. Goodbye from Daquan. Lolly Lolly says, bye to Judith. And know that. Very cool. Anyways, thanks, everybody, for watching. I'm going to pack all this equipment up and bring it back inside. And don't forget, there will be a new lesson tomorrow. Not tomorrow. There will be a lesson tomorrow, the same as yesterday's, but shorter. There will be a new lesson Tuesday, and I'll go somewhere else. It should be fun. And then another live lesson next Friday if you aren't aware of my schedule. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.